Thanks, Scott. Welcome. This is again the fiscal year 25 New Mexico Grown Buyer Producer meeting. And so we're here to talk about a number of things, including the approved supplier program for the producers on the line and the New Mexico Grown purchasing program for our agencies. Next slide, please. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Laura Spencer, who's going to help just ground us in the New Mexico Grown program. Sheena, can you go back one, please?
Yes. Sorry, I gotta get out of this.
No problem.
Oops.
All right. Laura, you're up.
Thank you, Elena, and welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to join you this afternoon to discuss the New Mexico Grown FY25 program. Next slide, please. And so as you can see, this is a state-funded and state leadership supported program that involves agencies and community partners from around the state to incentivize the purchase of New Mexico grown fresh fruits and vegetables for nutrition programs serving our littlest eaters from 0 to 5, as well as school-aged children from K to 12, and our elder population senior centers. And so those who are involved include K to 12 schools, senior centers, preschools, food banks, and food producers. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Laura. And so why participate in New Mexico Grown? Well, I think you're all here today because you understand the benefits and hopefully you've already been participating. But number one, the primary goal of New Mexico Grown is to introduce local foods and traditional and cultural foods to our publicly funded meal programs. So the reasons I really believe in the program is because it really emphasizes our relationship between food and place and reinstills this traditional knowledge that we have in all of our communities across New Mexico. We've also learned from years of implementing this program that it results in higher quality products that actually have a longer shelf life as well. So not only are our kids getting exposed to local food, but the food quality is higher, which has resulted in an increased participation in some of these programs. And we have data that supports that. It's very exciting to be able to say that as a fact. I think another component that's really important, and again, what drives many of our buyers, is that it really does support a local farming economy, right? For our farmers, ranchers, food hubs, food manufacturers, all the folks that are part of our local value chain, and really strengthening that food system. It also uplifts, again, that traditional and indigenous knowledge that we have in community and creates an opportunity and pathway for land and resource stewardship and looking at, again, reinstilling that connection between food and place for our youth and our communities. I think the biggest thing that's often a misnomer is that, yes, local foods can cost more because they don't have the same subsidies as large-scale commodity food programs. However, the benefits, without a doubt, outweigh those additional costs of food, and supporting our communities directly is another huge gain of the program. Next slide, please. So how does New Mexico Grown work? The reason I wanted to talk about this is because it's more than just a local food purchasing program. Laura mentioned that that is the primary goal. That's how this all started back when. So the first thing we do to participate in New Mexico Grown is buy local, right? And so for our buyers out there in the room, the goal is really to purchase year round, and we keep expanding allowable products in order to facilitate that goal. The next piece, there's been some programmatic efforts. And so to help people get informed through nutrition education and agricultural education, we now have a curriculum called Nuevo Thursdays. I know many of you buyers out there are already participating in that program. It's a resource that's made available through all of the agencies that administer the program, and they have modified it to reach various populations. So in other words, there's different activities for different age levels, and there's local food recipes included in Nuevo Thursdays. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and let us know. You can send an email, or we hope that you can also join the New Mexico Grown Coalition. The other opportunity is to get growing, right? So we've also seen some investment recently by our state agencies into grant programs to help build and enhance outdoor gardens, so that, again, that connection to the production of food and local food is made whole for the eaters that benefit from the program. We also have a program called the New Mexico Golden Chili Awards, which is a celebratory award program intended to really uplift the people that are out there making this work on the ground, our champion buyers and producers that are in the approved supplier program. And then again, as I just alluded to, we now have This is more than just a program, it's a movement. And so we have a coalition, that's a public-private partnership between nonprofits, state agencies, and communities called the New Mexico Grown Coalition, which is the space to come to learn more about the programmatic connections and ways that you can help customize New Mexico Grown to meet your community's needs. Next slide. Right, so the New Mexico Grown program started out as a program specifically focused on fresh fruit and vegetables going into meal and snack programs in schools. It has evolved greatly over the past few years to include a broader category that we now refer to as Produce Plus. So that's fresh and whole fruit and veg, as well as minimally processed fruit and vegetable products. So in other words, things that might be chopped, things that might be dried, some of our more traditional foods like pozole and dried chili product, those fall under that category. Grains, nuts, and legumes or beans are also allowable within the program and are a great way to get local food on the plate year-round. Last year, we piloted New Mexico grown meat products coming into the program, and that includes beef, lamb and mutton, pork, and bison. We did an evaluation last year on the meat pilot and found that it was very successful, though there is a significant market opportunity that remains particularly for lamb, mutton, and bison products. Coming this year is going to be the expansion into value-added products, and it will be a pilot that will launch probably this fall or winter. So keep an eye out for a webinar. Once we have our standards set, we will do a training for folks and open a new approved supplier program application category for value-added products. And what do I mean when I say value-added products? So some good examples are things like blue corn bread mixes or roasted chopped green chili sauce. Those are some examples of value add products that are out there in community that would be able to be purchased with the funding. For our buyers, as a reminder, the goal of this program is to increase local and fresh foods. And so in terms of the funding allocations, we ask that you do follow the allocation award amounts, which are 40% of your budget may be utilized to purchase meat, a maximum of 40%. The rest should be used to purchase Produce Plus products. And again, once we launch value add, up to 25% of that total budget will actually be allowable for value add meat and Produce Plus products. The last thing I want to say is we have an allowable product list, and I really hope that all our buyers in the room are aware of that. If you're not, it's on the New Mexico Grown website, which you'll see the address here later, but it's nmgrown.org. And it actually lists every single product that is allowable or defined as a Produce Plus product. So producers, you can also find that as well. Next slide. Okay, so one of the main program components is that New Mexico grown products, so products purchased with New Mexico grown funding, must be purchased from approved suppliers. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the agenda, but we have what is called the ASP list, or the approved supplier list. It's more than a list, though. It is a relationship building tool. It is not a one-stop shop tool. It's not going to offer an opportunity for you to order right from it, but it will give you contact information for everybody involved in the program. So the first 3 tabs are contact information for producers. So tab number 1 is those Produce Plus vendors. Tab number 2, meats. And coming this year, there will be a tab number 3 specifically for food hubs, so you won't have to shuffle through the long Produce Plus list any longer. The other function of the list is to gain access to the grantees, so the buyers, right? I think a lot of our producers might not be aware, but tabs 4 through 7 are actually buyer contact information for each one of the sites. And so if you're curious if there's a market opportunity in your community, you can check out those tabs and you'll see all the buyers. Coming next year, we're also going to be releasing the approved supplier list quarterly so that we can better indicate what's in season. So you'll hear from us, you'll see a big announcement on the website and in social media and an email that says new list has been published, and it will have the same producers, but it will include their new product availability for the quarter that is coming, or the season. So again, the idea of the list is not that it's a one-stop shop, but that it will provide you all the information to grow and strengthen your relationships with buyers. And you can access it on newmexicogrown.org or the NMFMA approved supplier page. You can also find it there tagged on the side, or you can reach out to us and we'll send it to you. The list is a live list, so it's a Google document, because we have producers that are applying all the time year round. And so as a reminder, buyers, check it out every month or so because there will be new suppliers that show up. Next slide. Uh-oh. All right. You can skip ahead, Sheena. The one thing I'm going to introduce my agency partners here in a moment, but I do want to just reiterate that we're halfway through a purchasing year, right? It's a little more than halfway. We're in February now, but there is still funding out there from the previous fiscal year. And so there's plenty of opportunities, producers, to connect with buyers right here on this call. As you follow up, we'll send out a contact list again, and you can find that on the website. But I just want to make that announcement, and hopefully our agency partners will also reiterate, what might be available within their programs, but we're about halfway there and we're about halfway through spending. So there's plenty of opportunity. I'll now introduce with the Public Education Department. I believe that Mike is not here yet. So
it'll be me, Shauna Woodworth, and Rosa Lopez if you.
Great. We'll hand it over to Shauna then. And I didn't see Rosa come in.
I see her over there in the attendee list. Rosa Lopez.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So Shauna Woodworth is the Farm to School Coordinator with the Public Education Department, and Rosa Lopez, who's the Healthy Kitchen Director. I'm sorry, I don't know your title exactly, are going to talk about the Public Education Department New Mexico Grown program that serves kids kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yes. So Rosa Lopez is our new Kids Kitchen Supervisor. She oversees our Kids Kitchen team. So thank you, everyone. My name is Shauna Woodworth, and I'm the Farm to School Coordinator with the Public Education Department. This program has been wonderful for schools. It's given schools the opportunity to purchase high quality produce and also items that kids might not be used to. So it gives kids a new taste experience. The PED has given $2 million in grants this year for schools to purchase local food. About 1 million of that has been spent thus far, so there's still opportunity to sell to school districts. As Elena mentioned, there is a buyer tab, so you can identify the schools that have the funding in your area. 61 schools did receive the $2 million. And the reason schools have not seen an application this year is because our funding is, our application process is going to be changing this year. And that's some changes that have happened with SB 4, that's Senate Bill 4, the universal free meals. And I'm going to give Rosa the floor so she can kind of describe what that universal free meals is and how that's going to affect the New Mexico Grown funding.
Hello, so I am Rosa Lopez, the program manager overseeing the team that is implementing Senate Bill 4, which many people know as universal free meals. Now, some important components to know about that is we're about 9 states that have adopted universal free meals thus far, and about among 5 states that have introduced components of local grown products being incorporated in K through 12, as well as scratch cooking as one of the required components. Now, I know that there are still a lot of questions about it. The rules are in the process of being written. We will be finalizing in the next week what will be posted for public comment. And the overarching themes are more scratch cooking. The more scratch cooking, if they do a maximum amount of scratch cooking, which is pretty hard to meet, then they can ignore some of the other components. Now, for most, they're going to do a moderate amount of scratch cooking, which we have defined as 50% of those reimbursable meal components would be scratch cooked, fresh products being provided to students. Now, the other components of Senate Bill 4 include food and nutrition education, and this is for staff and students. It can also include communities. Then there is a component of the student and family voice. This is saying there are systems in place where the food nutrition authorities are actually getting feedback and input from students and families and using that to do revisions on what they're offering, making sure that they are providing meals that are appropriate for the region and respect for different cultures and diversity we have in the state. Then we have a component of reducing food waste. There are some elements that were specific in Senate Bill 4. It was one of the, other than scratch cooking, reducing food waste did already have specific measures being introduced, which included things like adequate seat time for students, focusing on those younger grades, having recess.
When are we eating now?
I'm sorry. Okay, so what the timing of recess to help encourage less food waste because they'd have more time to eat, would be more focused on having their meal not interfering with recess, and shared tables and food donations. So those were specifically mentioned and have specific procedures that are approved by PED and the Environment Department for schools to implement. Now, in addition to that, there's also a component of what is going to be the certification process. And that's where the rules come in. It's how we are going to evaluate each of these metrics, each of these areas, how they're going to be evaluated. And that's what we've been rolling out. These rules would be published by April or May timeframe. So then we would focus on making sure that we're educating everyone involved on what those rules mean and providing detailed guidelines of the different ways those initiatives can be fulfilled. So I told I had 5 minutes, so I'm gonna try not to go over. Do we have any questions?
And just one more thing, all that to say is we are still in the rulemaking process of SB4, and the New Mexico Grown funding is wrapped up into SB4 this year. So we are not at this point quite sure how we're going to allocate the money and the amount that's going to go to each district. So we'll be sending out more information come early April for schools on how to apply for the New Mexico Grown funding. So thank you, Rosa.
Thank you, Shauna.
Thanks, folks from the Public Education Department. If folks have questions for them, go ahead and put it into the Q&A, and please indicate on your question PED, and then we'll know that that goes over to them. And that's same with any of the institutions that are presenting right now. So next we'll go over to learn about the New Mexico Grown program servicing our older adults and senior centers. And so let me see, I believe our colleague Ophelia is with us. She is not.
Hi, Elena.
Oh, hi,
I'm here.
Ophelia.
Do you see me?
Yep.
Hi. Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Ophelia Stepp. I'm the state nutritionist for our aging department. I do have to say that our seniors love the New Mexico Grown program, and on top of the staff, our senior center staff also love the program as well. For fiscal year 25, I've put out an application for senior centers to apply for funding. We are in our 4th year of New Mexico Grown. When we first started in about 2019, 2020, we had 15 senior centers. We currently have 91 senior centers that are participating in the program. So it's growing. Our senior centers love it. Our seniors love it. As I mentioned, the application for fiscal year 25 has just been put out this month. It is due next month. I have to put an application out every year, unfortunately. And then mid-year, if we have any funding left, I try to put out a little mini grant to see for senior centers that haven't applied for that fiscal year for them to apply in mid-year. Also, the funding is based on the senior center's meal count. So in other words, if a senior center is only serving maybe 40 meals, and then another senior center is serving 300 meals, the senior center that's serving 300 meals is going to get more funding than the senior center that's only serving 40. So it depends on their meal count, on the amount of the allocation. And let's see what else I have for you. Right now, I do have some extra funding from New Mexico Grown, so I am going to be offering small kitchen equipment for our senior centers. And this equipment is for senior centers that are wanting to do scratch cooking. So in other words, if they're needing like a food processor for chopping, dicing, and slicing, I'm offering some funding for that. Overall, our seniors love the program. It is growing. I'm hoping that even though for fiscal year 24, we had 91 senior centers, I'm hoping for 150. That's what I'm striving for fiscal year 25. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ophelia, and thank you for just being such an amazing champion, supporting the expansion of this program and always working with people to make sure that they can take full advantage of everything New Mexico Grown has to offer. We'll go ahead and we'll hear from Laura Spencer with ECECD to talk a little bit more about the program that serves our preschools and Head Starts and other early education sites.
Thank you, Elena, and hello again, everybody. My name is Laura Spencer. I am the Nutrition Program Manager for the Family Nutrition Bureau under the Early Childhood Education and Care Department. Next slide, please. And so, much like Ophelia, we will be offering a new round of grant, and RFA is going to be opening soon for early childhood education and care centers to apply for the New Mexico Grown program. As you've been hearing, this is a local procurement program that encourages the purchase of New Mexico grown fresh fruits and vegetables, meat, and other non-produce products. And I'm here to talk about the early learning centers that are eligible under CACFP participation. Next slide, please. So as you already know and have heard, of all of the different organizations, those early childhood education and care centers, and unfortunately at this time, home providers are not eligible, but centers that are participating under the Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP, are eligible. Next slide, please. Those include child care centers, pre-K programs, Head Starts and early Head Start programs, adult daycare facilities, at-risk after-school programs, and emergency shelters. And in order to participate, as I say, you must be enrolled with the CACFP program and in good standing with the food program. Next slide, please. The benefits are many. Elena has already highlighted several of these. For childcare centers, in addition to the ones that Elena discussed and you see on the screen, there, of course, is the added benefit of being able to further your dollars that you spend on food cost. And that is a huge issue for a lot of our childcare operators at this time, given the increasing cost of foods. This is a way to be able to better provide local, healthy, high quality foods to supplement your childcare meals. Next slide, please. So what can you get through NM Grown? Well, they're going to be products that are locally grown, harvested, or raised here in New Mexico. Purchases have to be made through an approved supplier. And as Elena shared in the chat, you can see the approved supplier list, which we hope is growing throughout the years. This includes farmers, ranchers, and food hubs in New Mexico. The products that are available to you include vegetables and fruits, which now include fresh, dehydrated, dried, freeze-dried, and minimally processed, herbs, honey, grains, and or flour, as well as traditional foods, including blue corn, atole, chicos, hominy, etc., and of course, chili. Plant-based proteins, including beans, seeds, and nuts, and USDA inspected and certified meat products, which, as you've heard, include beef, pork, bison, lamb, and mutton products. No poultry is allowed at this time, and stay tuned for more information on eggs. A maximum of 40% of childcare awards can be spent on meat products. Not allowable at this time include items like tortillas and other baked goods, dairy, eggs, but again, stay tuned, poultry, and edible flowers. And you can access the allowable products list as well in one of the tabs that Elena shared. Next slide, please. So how to go about this? Well, you'll want to look over that list of available foods, decide what types of things you might want to buy, how you're going to use them, what's available to you in your area locally and seasonally, determine how much of the product you're going to need, what it's going to be used for, and again, make sure that you purchase only from approved vendors that are on the approved supplier list. Next slide, please. So you'll first review that allowable products list and the approved supplier list. You can contact the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association for assistance or your state agency lead. And for those under ECECD in childcare, that would be myself. My contact information is at the bottom of the slide. You'll then make a purchase and submit your invoices, purchase log by email to ECECD. We would like you to please submit them as soon as you spend on a regular basis, preferably by the 15th of the month, but we'll accept them anytime. And you will receive reimbursement after you make the purchase through our finance department. My colleague Lupita Perez is on the call, and thank you so much, Lupita, for the work that you've done to make those checks keep flowing. Next slide, please. So approved suppliers are in almost every corner of our state. You can see the map here that has a list of locations of our suppliers now. So there should be no worry about your accessibility to these products, and several of our food hubs in particular will deliver. Some of our vendors and growers as well can deliver. And so we hope to make this an easy process for you to participate in. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, our RFA, our request for applications, is going to be coming out soon. So we will send out an email blast to all of our participating childcare organizations shortly. Hoping by March 15th, at the very latest by April 1st, you can expect to see that land in your inbox. Also keep an eye on the nmececd.org/New Mexico Grown landing page for the New Mexico Grown ECECD program for more information. There will be an online application process, and we can also make the application available to you as a fillable PDF if you prefer. Next slide, please. I think that may be it. Yep. So there again is my contact information, and I would be delighted to be able to work with you over the coming fiscal year in this program. Currently, we're serving 38 childcare centers in the New Mexico Grown who are participating, I should say, in the New Mexico Grown program. That's an increase from our first inaugural year of FY23, where we started out with 18 and gradually during that fiscal year increased to 30. So let's keep those numbers coming up. It is a huge benefit to the children that you care for, your littlest eaters, and to the New Mexico economy, as well as to the child care center itself. So I certainly hope to hear from you soon. And just so that you know, I am currently supporting this program. However, we will be hiring a new food security coordinator shortly, and that person will become your new contact. We'll share that information as well as soon as that person comes aboard. Thanks very much for the time.
Thank you, Laura. And if folks have questions for Laura at all, go ahead and again and enter them in the Q&A, and please indicate preschools or ECECD so that she can see really clearly that the question is directed for her. All right, so next we're going to hear from the newest program to the New Mexico Grown family, which is the Regional Farm to Food Bank program. And we've got Meredith and Bonnie here to speak a little bit more about that.
Hi there.
Hi, Bonnie.
Sorry, I think
Hey.
Meredith is kicking this off, so I'm just going to let her introduce herself and I'll pop in a minute.
Yeah, can you guys see the presentation, the screen, my screen share? Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yes, we
Awesome.
can.
Awesome. Yes. Hi, I'm Meredith Lorenz. I am one of the two local procurement project specialists, which basically just means I'm a buyer on behalf of the food banks in the state. Bonnie, you want to introduce yourself?
So I am the second buyer for the Regional Farm to Food Bank program. It is me and Meredith. Our program works a little bit differently than the rest of the institutions in the state, but we will get into those details and kind of give you how our program is a little bit different in just a bit. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So you'll see here on our screen all of our partners that help make our program run. One thing to note is that New Mexico Department of Ag is our fiscal agent. Because like we talked about before, there's kind of two main differences with our program. One is that it's federally funded, and two is that there are only two buyers on behalf of all of the food banks in the state. So that's me over on the far right-hand side. I take care of the service areas inside of the food bank network that includes the Northwest, the west side of the state, the Southwest, and kind of all of the South. And Bonnie takes care of the other parts. We also have added a bilingual Spanish-speaking program specialist extraordinaire that we love so much, Erica, whose contact information will be at the end of this presentation, in case for any reason during the process of purchasing with us, you need Spanish language support. So like I said before, one of the two main differences is that this is actually a federally funded program. It is through the USDA Local Food Purchasing Assistance Cooperative Agreement, which is kind of a pilot program from the USDA, and the first of its kind. Although we are inside of the New Mexico Grown framework, Regional Farm to Food Bank does have some other priorities too, which are listed here. One of those is an explicit directive from USDA to support the small to mid-sized socially disadvantaged producers, and to also, invest in the value chain, regional food supply chain. And also we do utilize a values-based procurement model when we are looking at purchases. And that kind of basically means that we take into other considerations when we are making purchases. It's not just the price, but environmental practices, regenerative practices, how close you are to the place where there's going to be a delivery, geographical preferences, things like that. So those are the kind of the main difference between us and the other programs. So how it's kind of structured is the Food Depot, which is one of the 5 food banks in New Mexico, kind of holds this contract on behalf of all of the other food banks in the state. So just as a clarification, Bonnie and I, although we do work, for the Food Depot, we are also purchasing for all of the food banks in the state, which means that all of this food is distributed to the entire state. It's not just for the Food Depot. We're also really focusing on developing long-term relationships, between each individual food bank and their local producers. That's one of the values of our program, and keeping the food as local as possible, and understanding that there are still resource gaps and production gaps in the state. But the Food Depot takes care of all the invoicing, all of the purchasing, and all of the data reporting on behalf of all of the food banks in the state. This is a map of the Association of Food Banks. You can see that the stars indicate where the actual food banks are. And just kind of to talk about food banks' superpower, which I like to think about it in that way, is that there's over 500 agencies in New Mexico that food banks rely on for their food distribution. So even though you see these stars as the food bank headquarters, there is food being distributed to all 33 counties. And they rely on these nonprofit, in a lot of ways, grassroots folks that really care about their communities, that help with the food distribution part of this. And, one of the things that's really cool about food banks is that they go to these places where there are sometimes, in some cases, no grocery stores or no other food access points. And so this is a really cool program to be able to get in some really beautiful local product into places where there's low to no food access. And you'll see here too that this is our service areas. So if you look at the right-hand side, right top corner, Bonnie Murphy, who you'll hear from in just a second, that's her service area, and my service area is all here in the south. All right, take it away, Bonnie.
Awesome, thanks. So I work with the Food Depot for folks who are up in the northern part of the state, as well as Bernalillo County and the eastern portion of the state, which services the Food Bank of Eastern New Mexico, those 5 counties in blue. Next slide. So just a little recap of kind of what the association's capacity is. So the New Mexico Association of Food Banks Assistance in 2023, we just got these stats, is rather immense. We are looking at over 54 million pounds of food distributed. What that breaks down to in a meal count is about 3.8 million meals per month. And the further breakdown would be that 18% of those foods are proteins. That's meat proteins, animal proteins, legumes, etc. And then 46% of those foods as fruits and vegetables. So you can see that, while we're really exceeding in fruits and vegetables and obviously moving a lot of product, this is really their overall food assistance, and does not, it includes the local, but local is a much smaller component of that. Next slide, please. So with that, there is an immense opportunity. These are some of the foods that we are looking to purchase with the New Mexico Grown program. We've got meat, vegetables, and fruit, as well as, minimally processed items such as flours, beans, and other dry goods. All of these are on the allowable product list. And the way that we conducted a survey to get this list from the food banks. So all of this is coming, informed by the food banks and their clientele. So while it might look a little bit narrow, there are some allowances beyond this list, but these are kind of the core food groups that we're looking for. If anyone is interested in getting a copy of this list, we can make that available for you. There are plenty of regional nuances as well. Something that we are definitely trying to prioritize is culturally relevant foods. So if that is, if you have some culturally relevant foods that you're interested in selling, we are absolutely interested, since those are especially difficult to source within the food bank network outside of local production. Next slide. So just how we can get folks involved. So if this interests you, there's definitely a major opportunity. As you can tell, there's massive amounts of food being distributed through this network, and we would love to bring local food in. First off, as with everyone here who's working with New Mexico Grown, folks need to get on the approved supplier list. With that, we have our own separate application. So in that, we can do some additional determinations of regionality, et cetera. So go ahead and get onto our website and where you can fill out that application. It is a rolling application, so there is no time limit on that. We generally follow up with all applicants within approximately a week. With that, we'll review your product availability, your location, your volumes, et cetera, and determine how best to move forward and coordinate those logistics. With that, we can set up then a virtual meeting with you. Since we are just 2 buyers around the state, we really heavily rely on virtual, and go over some of those logistics, coordination, product availability, et cetera, and review terms of agreement. With that, then the coordination of sales can begin. We just closed up a produce RFP period. However, there are plenty of opportunities for sales with us, including for produce. We are not limited to RFP process. So if you are familiar with the RFP process for school senior centers and early child care education, know that while there is the formal process, we are also able to do these micro purchases. So just reach out to us if you are a smaller grower, as it is a priority of our programming. But with that, we also have an RFP process coming up, which is specifically for meat bids. That will be announced on our website on April 15th, a number of RFPs around the state. And that will be posted at nmfoodbanks.org/bids. However, plenty of good information is just at that main website, nmfoodbanks.org. Let's see. What else am I supposed to mention here? Purchasing with foods this year will most likely begin on July 1. That is the beginning of our next fiscal year. So let's get the conversations going now, but we are looking to purchase with new vendors starting July 1. And we will have through June of 2025 to spend down these funds. And we are hoping to continue this program well into the future beyond June of 2025, though some of that is in the works right now at the federal level with the Farm Bill. So stay tuned on that. Let us know if you're interested in getting involved and advocating for us. But we have plenty of money to spend. I want to say that we have 2.4 million remaining. And I know I'm probably well over time, so I will can it. I think we have one more slide. I'm sorry. Next slide. Yes, sorry, I have too many windows open. These are our contacts. Again, one more time, I'm Bonnie Murphy. I am working with the North, Albuquerque, Bernalillo County, as well as East, Meredith, West and South, and our lovely Erica Villegas, who is our bilingual program assistant. If anyone is looking for bilingual assistance, please reach out to Erica. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. And we're actually going to move into hearing a little bit more from the buyers themselves and some of the producers that have been working with these programs. So Bonnie, do you want to introduce one of the producers you all have worked with in Regional Farm to Food Bank?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Donna in the room, Donna Romero from lovely Sweet Mercy Farms. We worked with quite a bit this past year, and wanted to give her an opportunity to talk about her involvement with our program specifically, as well as any other opportunities that she may have had within the New Mexico Grown family. Donna Romero, kick it off.
Awesome. Hi, thanks so much, Bonnie. So my name is Donna Romero, and I am speaking from the perspective of a producer. We are Sweet Mercy Farms, and we raise grass-fed and finished beef, grain-fed heritage pork, and pastured lamb. And just a little bit about us. We are actually a fourth generation farming and ranching family here in New Mexico. But even though my aunts and my uncles continued to farm, my dad left the farm when he was 17, never to look back. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that even at that time, their ranch had to sell to large producers that basically ran the market and set the price. So we picked up in my grandfather's shoes about 10 years ago. And really, to be honest with you, this fiscal year 2023 was the first time that we've ever directly benefited from farming incentives. And much of the benefit that we've seen is because of some of these larger initiatives from the New Mexico Grown program, being able to sell directly to the state institutions, and specifically being a part of the Regional Farm to Food Bank program. And I would just say that the Regional Farm to Food Bank program is an excellent program, and really two things stand out in my mind that makes it so beneficial. One is that Meredith and Bonnie have structured the program in such a way that it moves the food from local producers to local communities in a way that benefits both of us. And because they have so much control over the way that the program is constructed, it truly benefits both the community and the farmer, which I think that can be a rare mix. And the second reason that I think that the Regional Farm to Food Bank program is so powerful is that Meredith and Bonnie are both for the farmer, they're for the rancher, they're for us, and they advocate for us, they protect us, they defend us, and they go to bat for us. And so I think that it's a wonderful program. And really, our involvement through the New Mexico Grown program, and specifically the Regional Farm to Food Bank program, has shown us that we are dependent on our own community, right? We're dependent on other ranchers, we're dependent on buyers, we're interdependent, but being a part of these programs allows us to operate independently, which is so important and so vital for our local food community to become resilient and robust, and to be all that it can be for New Mexico and its communities. So I highly recommend it, and I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna. And if anyone has questions and are interested in getting involved, please reach out to any of our growers who maybe can give you some additional insight. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you, Donna, for sharing a little bit more about how the program has impacted you. And we are so grateful for your patience and appreciation in working with institutions and just all the kind things you said. So thank you. We're going to open it up now to some of our other buyer partners that you heard from earlier to introduce guests that they have brought to talk about their programs. So I'll hand it over to Shauna if you want to introduce one of our school partners that has been using the New Mexico Grown program.
Yes, thank you. I would like to introduce Kim Weeks. She's the food service director of Roswell Independent School District. She is also a Golden Chili awardee because she's done such an amazing job with purchasing local food. To date, I think she has spent around 81,000 of her funding towards local food, which has been amazing. And Kim has also leveraged some of her universal free meal funding to purchase, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, but most of your meat is local?
Correct. All
meat
of our
cuts?
beef.
All of your beef this year is local, which is just incredible. So welcome, Kim, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm Kim Meeks, and I'm the Director of Student Nutrition for Roswell Independent School District. And this program is terrific. The kids love the fresh produce, and on the salad bars, we have salad bars in all of our 22 schools. And we try to keep them stocked year round, and we buy as much New Mexico grown as we possibly can. We need more farmers over on this side so that we can do better at stocking them continually. But it is a great program, and the beef has been amazing, the quality of it, but the quality of the fruits and vegetables is so much better. The lettuce we receive is unbelievable. It is absolutely gorgeous. Makes you want to eat a salad every day. So, I mean, I can't say enough about how wonderful this program is, and it is such a good program for the schools to be in. And I would highly recommend that all the schools get in it because it benefits the schools, and I'm hoping it benefits our farmers well. But it's great, and thank you very much. Thank you for this program.
Thank you, Kim, and thanks for being a champion and a Golden Chili awardee. That's awesome. Now I'm going to hand it over to our colleague with the Department of Health, Gabriel Garden, to talk a little bit more about farm to preschool and some of the impacts that have happened through the centers in the past couple of years. Welcome, Gabriel.
Hi, thank you, Elena. Hi, everybody. Buenas tardes. My name is Gabriel Garden. I work at New Mexico Department of Health in Nutrition and Physical Activity Programming. And we were blessed to get a grant to focus on implementing farm to early childhood a few years ago. And in partnership with Elena, who helped us, as well as our partners at the Early Childhood Department, like Laura Spencer, we developed a comprehensive farm to preschool or farm to early childhood program that involved 4 core strategies. The first being local procurement or purchasing New Mexico grown. The second, edible gardens. Third, nutrition education and focusing on using those local foods in nutrition education in centers. And then finally, family and community engagement. And we found that when we supported our centers in all 4 of those priority strategies, really magical things took place. And so it's, using the New Mexico grown foods, which are fresher, more nutritious, and more tasty, was a wonderful way to open up kids trying new vegetables and liking them in the first or second or third time they tried them, rather than just saying, ick, I don't like something if it's green or something if it's colorful because I'm used to beige foods like French fries and chicken nuggets. They developed a liking for them much more rapidly because they taste so good when they're locally grown. And I have 2 quotes here. We had tons of quotes and testimonials from the work that we did over 3 years in this pilot program. But 2 of these, I don't have time to read them all, of course. 2 of these come from a story that we're about to publish in our Healthy Kids, Healthy Communities Spring 2024 newsletter. So it's going to be hot off the press soon. And that's from one of our pilot centers way down at the southern border of New Mexico in Sunland Park. And that center is Bumblebee Learning Center. And this parent, the parent of one child, her name is Lorenza, said she loved tasting new vegetables and even encouraged us to try it here at home. And that was the whole purpose of what we do. We don't want what happens at the center to stay at the center. We wanted to translate into the whole environment so the whole family and community start to change. And we saw that happen through New Mexico Grown and through Comprehensive Farm to Preschool. And then another parent, named Mike said, my kids like to eat asparagus and eggplant. Wow, because those are vegetables that most kids probably haven't tried. And if they do try them, they usually probably say, oh, eggplant's icky. And then he said, not only do they like to try it, but they brought it home. And he says they like it because they tried it at daycare. And so we're super excited about the New Mexico Grown program. If we have any early childhood sites out there, we developed this whole suite of materials to support our farm to preschool programming. And you can get in touch with us here at Department of Health. I'll put my contact information and that of my program manager, Rita Condon, in the chat so that you all can reach out to us if you're interested. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Gabriel, and thanks for that amazing work that DOH has been helping to drive that helps to support New Mexico Grown and creates that kind of program wraparound, right? So it's more than just eating the food, it's learning to appreciate it and experience it. So thank you for the work that you do. All right, I'll hand it over to my colleague back to Ophelia with Aging and Long-Term Services. Ophelia, is there anything you'd like to share from the voice of the buyers or any buyers out there working with senior centers that would like to share a little bit about your experience with the program?
Absolutely. I believe Janice is here with Sandoval County, and Janice has been with the program since the beginning. So Sandoval County was part of the pilot project, and it's been 4 years. She's been in the program for 4 years, and I know she loves it. So Janice, do you mind saying a few things about the program and how our seniors like it, if you could, please?
Hi, Ophelia and everyone out there. Yes, we have been a part of the program for so many years already since the pilot, and it's really benefited our program. The seniors really enjoy the fresh produce and then now the meats. And it's just been so rewarding to be able to work with all the different farmers and the ranchers out there. They're just, I can't even say enough about each and every one of them. The ones we've worked with more recently and Trilogy, I can't say enough about Manny and his crew and how personable they've gotten with us, you know, meeting us at the sites, looking at the needs, looking at our menus, finding out exactly what our needs are. They're just, it's been great to work with them. Also C4 and Michael's been extremely helpful in helping us set those up as well. Of course, Ophelia, just everyone, but the way that this program, this New Mexico Grown program has benefited our senior programs and our seniors is phenomenal. And we hope to continue to be a part of it and continue to advocate for this program because the seniors really benefit from it.
Thanks, Janice. I appreciate you and I appreciate all your hard work. If you could mention real quickly and tell everybody how the seniors can tell the difference between local and non-local food.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We have salad bars at the sites that we utilize the product with on a daily basis, but we also include working with our food service manager to incorporate other foods into our daily menus. The meats also, they can tell. They're asking, you know, what are you guys doing differently within the last few years? And we let them know, you know, it's locally grown produce and meats from the people that we're buying from locally. They also get to meet some of these producers to come in, when they come in to deliver our food, they actually meeting some of them as well. So it's just all around a great opportunity for all of us, but definitely they are noticing the products that we're using are fresh and the different products that we started using. We've implemented a few products and done the Nuevo Thursday a couple of times, and they really like the dried fruit. We tried the dried fruit this time, and the purple potatoes, and just some new things that we hadn't used in our menu. So they really are enjoying it and very noticeable.
Thank you, Janice. You're a rock star.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of our buyers and supportive administering agencies. Again, this program, it is a partnership absolutely between those that are serving the food for our communities and doing that hard work every day, and those that are growing and producing it. So we're now going to move kind of flip sides of the equation here and talk a little bit more about how producers can get involved. However, if you are a buyer out there and you've been involved in the program, tell others to get involved. And if you are not yet involved in the program, go ahead, reach out to one of our contacts, apply for the program, and start purchasing local next year. There's tons of support, and this community is here to help you get started. Next slide, please, Sheena. All right, so again, welcome. My name is Elena Paisano. I am an enrolled member of the San Carlos Apache Nation. I'm also Little Sun and Water Clan from Laguna Pueblo, and I serve as the Approved Supplier Program Director with the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association. I have also supported our buyers in different capacities through the evolution of New Mexico Grown. And so this is a program that's very dear to my heart. And I'm excited to talk a little bit more about the Approved Supplier Program and some of the updates and adjustments that we've made to make it a little bit easier for producers to get involved. So next slide, please. All right, so we're going to start out again for any of you that might not know about the Approved Supplier Program. What the heck is it? Well, essentially, it is a food safety and food quality program that is geared at helping local producers feed their own communities and utilize public programs and public funding in order to do that, so that our communities that might not always have access to these local and high quality foods have access in these centers of education, of life, of community. And so again, as we talked about, it services essentially the entire age spectrum. So from our little babies to our seniors and our food bank populations, our families, and it has been the program, we're in about our, let's see, 7th year, I think, if you look at some of the pilot years, but it's really been growing every year. So next slide, please. All right, so why should anyone participate in the Approved Supplier Program? Well, number one, as you've gathered, in order to participate in Farm to Institution program, New Mexico Grown, you need to be an approved supplier. And the reason for that is that it helps to create quality standards and food safety and create buyer reassurances, as the buyers that you just heard, right? They're serving our vulnerable communities, and we want to make sure that we're doing that in a good way. So it is the entry point for the program. We work really hard to also make sure that it's an inclusive program, that it's accessible across the state to various types of producers. And so we at the NMFMA provide various training programs as well as technical assistance. We work really hard to make sure that the curriculum that we're teaching around food safety is place-based and uplifts the knowledge that has been in our communities for so long. We know that our farmers know how to feed people. We just want to make sure that they know all the information to ensure everything they're doing is the highest standard possible. It also helps to create a pathway to these institutional programs that in other states often require expensive third-party certifications. And so the Approved Supplier Program is a kind of homegrown New Mexico way of working around that and still making sure the food is high quality. So I'm really proud to say that New Mexico is one of the only states that allows farmers not GAP certified to sell to institutions. Next slide, please. All right, so how do you get involved as an approved supplier? So first, you'll take some food safety training, and maybe you've already taken food safety training. That could look like the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association food safety training that we call Tier 1 and Tier 2, or you might take a Produce Safety Alliance training or an FDA approved training such as the Indigenous Food and Ag Initiative's produce training on tribal lands. So that's kind of a precursor before you come to apply. And then you'll submit an application. And new this year, we have an application portal. So the application will be submitted online in an easy form that has been simplified for you guys. And then it'll be automatically sent to one of our reviewers. At the NMFMA, the Approved Supplier Program, we work with a host, let's see, maybe 8 to 10 community-based reviewers and food safety trainers. So your neighbors and friends that are experts in food safety sit and review these panels and provide technical assistance. So they'll get your application, they'll take a look at it, they might give you a call, they might come to your farm, or if you're a ranch, we might talk. Honestly, it would be me. You might talk to me, and I'll ask you for some paperwork if you didn't get everything. But if not, we'll approve you. And when you get approved, you automatically get published on that approved supplier list that we showed you. Again, we accept applications year round. We do have a priority deadline, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but the program is open year round to anybody who would like to participate who has food safety training and submits an application and gets that approved. Then you use that list to reach out to buyers. So I want to be really clear that the Approved Supplier Program is a food safety program. It's not necessarily a market matching program, but we do everything we can to do that, to support you all in that. So this buyer grower meeting is an example. We do community networking events. We participate in different events with the buyer groups, always trying to amplify and uplift the voices of our producers. Next slide, please. All right, this is a very wordy slide, but I was trying to get it all into one. And so for our Produce Plus vendors, again, those that are selling fruits and vegetables and minimally processed food, we have a few requirements. So the first is that the produce must be grown in the state of New Mexico. They may be fresh, dried, or otherwise minimally processed. Again, you need to submit an Approved Supplier Program application to the NMFMA via our website. And new this year, we are requiring an annual application. The reason for that is so that you can provide us the most up-to-date marketing and product information so that we can share it with our buyers. We had some folks that had applied and it had been a couple of years and their product availability wasn't accurate anymore. So we're really trying to improve that communication. We also, as I mentioned, we're launching a brand new online application portal. And so it will really just be refreshing your application. You'll have a login. You'll go in, you'll put in your username and your password. It'll show you your application from last year, and you'll update it. Maybe new crops are being produced. Maybe you have new workers that you're working with. Maybe you have a new field that you've planted. You'll add that information. Someone will review it and you'll get approved quickly. Again, if you're a first-time producer, you must complete food safety training. So we've also updated this. We no longer have a third-year returning vendor training requirement. So in other words, 3 years ago, we said that any producer that has been selling to the New Mexico Grown Program through the Approved Supplier Program needs to retake Tier 1 and Tier 2 training after 3 years of participation. We realize that that doesn't serve you well. You're retaking a training program that's designed for folks that are just getting used to food safety, and you're pros at it after 3 years. So we've instead pivoted to making a required annual training, which is what we're doing right here today. And at 3 o'clock, my colleagues Anita and Mike will lead you through a produce refresher training that has kind of the best and newest information for you to know and be aware of related to federal food safety requirements and state practices. So yes, you must have your food safety training, and then we require you to submit either what we call a farm risk assessment, or if you have third-party certifications such as GAP, Good Agricultural Practices, we'll require you to submit that certificate to us so we can attach it to your file. Food hubs, new this year to our food hub partners, we ask that you submit a food safety plan. That's going to be required. Most of you do that already, as many of you are GAP certified. If you are a food hub and you have been participating in the program and you're not GAP certified, we will help you pursue that certification as you continue to participate in the program after a couple of years. We really want to grow your capacity around food safety as our hubs play such a critical connection and aggregation role in the local food system. The pricing and vendor requirements for the program are determined by individual buyers. There's a lot of similarities, but they change depending on who you're talking to, how much product you're trying to sell. So again, we don't cover that at the NMFMA. I can be of support to you, but that really is the reason to have a relationship directly with your buyer. Invoicing must include the delivery fees built into the product amount. And now this year, we are also asking you to indicate on each invoice the pounds of product purchased per product type. So in other words, if you sold 3 watermelons, we'd really love at least an estimate of how much those watermelons actually weighed. And that's to get us a better sense of supply and demand so that we can aid you in production planning. Product liability insurance is not required, but it is highly recommended. And again, that is going to be buyer specific. There might be some buyers that actually do want that, but as a program, we don't require it for Produce Plus. And then we also recommend that you register with NMDA's Grow the Tradition program. It's a free program that's available online, and we can help connect you to that as well. All right, next slide, please. And again, if y'all have questions about any of these requirements, go ahead and post them in the chat or the Q&A, and I will get to them after I'm done talking. So our meat producers for the meat program, the product must be slaughtered and processed at a federal inspected facility. And so that is one of the key components. It's related to federal requirement. It's not necessarily our requirement, but there's no working around that. So no custom exempt processing is allowed. It needs to go through one of the federally inspected facilities. We also require an FSIS distribution license if you're handling and distributing your meat products directly as a producer. We do require product liability insurance. And so you basically just add that coverage and then go ahead and submit documentation to us. We also ask and require that you registered with that Grow the Tradition program through NMDA, as NMDA is a partner on our ranch to institution work. And you need to comply with product labeling requirements. We are going to be making some updates to the product labeling requirements for fiscal year 25. So stay tuned. We will share those with you. But at this point, what I mean by that is indicating, what is in the package, what is the total amount, and ensuring that that seal or that label from the processing facility is intact. You may not do processing further when you receive it. So in other words, you can't take ground meat and then make sausage and then sell that. It all has to happen within that facility. And most importantly, how do we define New Mexico grown meat? Well, it must meet 3 out of 4 of the criteria. So be born and raised in the state of New Mexico, fed, finished in the state of New Mexico, slaughtered and processed in the state of New Mexico, and or animal ownership must be maintained by a New Mexico producer. The reason why it's 3 out of 4 is because we understand that there is a processing facility kind of deficit in our state. And as we wait for our state meat inspection program to come back online, we just know it's a reality. We heard it in our roundtables when we launched. And so we allowed that wiggle room for folks to be able to still participate in the program. Next slide, please. All right, so as I mentioned, again, the applications for fiscal year 25, and what I mean by that is purchasing starting July 1st, 2024 and going through June 30th, 2025. So we'll ask you to reapply. Applications are going to open this month. It says March 4th. It's not guaranteed March 4th. We're waiting on our portal to go live. You will receive tons of information from my team via email, social media. You will know when that application is live, so stay tuned. We'll have a priority deadline of April 15th. And priority deadline means if you want to make sure that your name is on the approved supplier list on July 1st, so that the buyers, once they get money in their pockets, they can reach out to you immediately, we ask that you submit by April 15th. If you submit after April 15th, we will do our best to clear your application as quickly as possible. And there's generally an average of about 45 days or so, depending on the completeness of your application. When the applications go live, you'll apply on the newmexicofma.org website. There'll be a giant button that says apply here. And again, we will provide technical assistance for anybody that needs help in navigating the portal, but it is really user-friendly and designed to actually streamline the process, again, both for our producers and our reviewers. So there's less back and forth, less phone calls and emails and follow-up, so that we can get all the information in one place and be able to save it historically so you can access it again next year and we can provide you the information back that you provide us. So again, the Produce Plus products, that is a different application type than the meat product application. So when you come in, you'll see 2 different application types. You'll ask the system will ask you, what kind of vendor are you? And you'll click the box and then it will display only the questions that are relevant to your operation type. So we're really excited about the new system, and we thank you in advance for your patience and willingness to try something new. And again, want you to know that the NMFMA, we have lots of support to help you with this process. Next slide, please. All right, so I've mentioned our website a couple times, but I can't emphasize enough. If you have questions, check out our website, newmexicofma.org. You can also put into your search bar New Mexico Grown or Approved Supplier Program, and it will get you there very quickly. You can also access through the New Mexico Grown website. So they'll all get you to the same place. On that tab, you will find the Approved Supplier Program list, the vendor list, the allowable product list, as well as an FAQ document that has a lot of helpful information in it. And you'll see the application portal as well. So again, you will go into our website and apply online, and we'll work with you through there. My contact information is also there, as well as my colleague Sheena. You can give us a call or shoot us an email, and we're here to help you. Next slide, please. All right, so now I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Sheena to go ahead and talk a little bit more about the food safety training program that we offer for folks that need to meet that food safety training requirement to become approved suppliers.
Hi everyone, Yate. So hope everyone can get out and stretch and get some blood flowing. These meetings can be really long and have a ton of information, so it's always good to remind yourself to stand up a little bit. So the food safety trainings, I am the person who helps it all get coordinated. This slide looks super big, so I'm going to try to make it smaller. I can't. So I'm the Approved Supplier Program Coordinator, and I work with you all to get you set up with the training. Here is the schedule that we are proposing for through June. So you'll see an online and an in-person option, and online is a shorter time frame, about 6 hours total. And both trainings include a self-paced course, which is called Talent LMS. In person is a little bit longer. We schedule about 5 hours, and this includes a paid lunch. And some information about signing up for food safety training is going through the NMFMA website. So we register you all through what's called Member Leap. You find the information there, you register, answer some survey questions, and we use that information to share with the food safety trainers to give them an idea of who is in the audience. Online trainings all take place over Zoom. I send you information over a calendar. I also remind you via email, this is what is on the schedule for the day. And then I help you get set up with Talent LMS. When it's in person, you'll see that it's coming up. Next month is in Albuquerque. April is Silver City. Sorry, my mind is in Colorado. And May is in Albuquerque. Anyone is able to attend. I've seen people come through who are farmers, who are ranchers, who are looking into producing food, growing food, and I've seen people who are teaching or who are starting a community garden. And yeah, we go through the whole PowerPoint, and usually 2 trainers are there to help move the discussion along, either in Zoom or in person. There's always going to be someone to help move the conversation along and to help you get your questions answered. One thing that we do want to offer is for folks to request for training in their community. It's really important for us to know where food safety training is needed, and to hear from folks in or areas that might need to partner with the facility, whether it's a chapter house or a food hub or a community space. We want to know where food safety training is needed. And the information to do that is there. I'll add the link in the chat. It's a Google form where you can answer some questions, and that comes back to us to know where can we go and how can we help set it up, who can we partner with, and then how many people we anticipate to attend. And so I'll add that link to the chat here soon. The last thing about food safety training is what we offer it throughout the state all year round. Online and in person are great ways to get introduced to the whole system and meet with the food safety trainers and get familiar with what the rules are, and bring you up to date with any of the new practices. For me, my experience with it in the last year has been really positive to see the type of peer-to-peer learning that happens. And sometimes it's not the easiest way to get familiar with a farmer, who lives across the state, but everyone shares their different experiences or their different techniques or what have you. So I think this is a great way to become familiar with us at the Approved Supplier team, with any of the food safety trainers, and with any of the other partners that we work with to help get food into our institutions and to our communities. So below you'll see the dates again. Applications open up next month or tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but it'll be next month. Application reviews start in April, and then we are pushing for a July 1st date to have applications reviewed and approved, and for you to get to know your food safety trainer or reviewer. They'll call you, they'll text you, they'll email you, whatever way to just get an understanding of what your operation is, and if you might benefit from some more food safety training or more technical assistance. And that's all I have to share about the food safety training program.
Thanks so much, Sheena. And again, if you have questions, you can reach out to Sheena. If you want to click to the next slide, I think our emails are on there, Sheena. Yeah, there we go. So you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Sheena, or you can reach out to our colleague Mike, who is also on the line and is going to help lead us through the food safety training a little bit later today. Again, we want to bring these trainings to communities that need them and have readiness. So do keep an eye out when the forum goes into the chat. If you have interest in bringing a training to your community, there's a couple questions there about that, and we can coordinate with you. We are doing our best to get all over the state. And again, part of what we ask for is that information, so we also know how to match a trainer to your needs and find a trainer hopefully within your region. As I mentioned earlier, we work with a trainer network of community-based folks. So we're here to help as staff, and then also our team of trainers and reviewers. Next slide, please. Thanks, Sheena. All right, so now you heard us talk about the program and all the reasons you should be involved in it as food producers, but we're going to take a moment to hear from some of the producers that have been working with the various agencies you heard from today. So first, I'd like to invite Jimena to talk a little bit about Full Circle Mushrooms and your relationship with buyers. I just have to say anecdotally, Jimena's presentation about mushrooms changed my daughter's opinion about mushrooms for life. She is 6 and now she eats them on everything she can get after having experienced your demo. So thank you, Jimena.
Hi, so I'm actually Shelby Baker. I'm representing Full Circle Mushrooms today. I'm the
Shelby.
safety specialist. Hi. So I just wanted to say that we produce gourmet mushrooms. We produce black pearl, chestnut, blue oyster, maitake, shiitake, and did I say chestnut? I think I did. Oh, and lion's mane. So it's been very exciting to work with you all. Right now we are producing about 1,000 pounds a week. And it's been very, very rewarding to work with the senior centers. One of the really successful things that we've been doing is that we work with the Las Cruces Senior Center, and they give us the menu each month, and we go and kind of help them organize what they want to do with their recipes, and kind of place certain mushrooms with certain recipes to help them and to kind of curate. Yeah, so some of the things that we do is like if you need help with cooking or demonstrations or anything like that, we like to go through and help kitchen staff kind of produce what they want and show them how to cook. Because, you know, sometimes people don't like mushrooms because they think they're slimy or whatever, but that's just because you have to know how to cook them. Let me see. Okay, one of the things that we are super strong about, so when we do orders, we like to do stand-in orders. So we will try and take priorities with that. But we also try and like help anyone else out that wants mushrooms for that time period. If there's any questions, I can also answer those. And if you have any, like, if you want to know how to purchase anything, we usually do boxes of about 6 pounds. That's the minimum. Oh, sorry, got distracted. Yeah, 6 pound minimums. Oh yeah, and if you have any questions, just go ahead and let me know in the group chat or the question and answer, and I can go ahead and send any emails of any other questions that might pop up. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much what I have.
Thank you so much. And again, I just have to say, I have been humbled to see the demand for mushrooms really increasing after you guys have been doing more of that engagement. So thank you guys, and for all the hard work you do to bring, you know, a new food to the plates of many folks in our communities. So keep an eye out, guys. They're on the approved supplier list, Full Circle Mushrooms, and do reach out with questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we will hear from one of our Food Hub partners. So Jacqueline Montoya is here from San Juan Harvest Food Hub up in Northwest New Mexico to talk a little bit about their experience working with New Mexico Grown.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. My name is Jacqueline Montoya. I'm the kitchen manager for the San Juan College Harvest Food Hub. And like Elena said, we're up in Farmington, New Mexico. We buy from about 30 different local farmers and value-added producers and ranchers. We currently sell to Farmington, Bloomfield, and Central Consolidated School District. We sell to all of the senior centers within our county. So we're Bloomfield, Aztec, Blanco, Lower Valley, and Farmington, which is all great. And then we also sell to the local daycares. So the biggest one would be Gold Star Academy and all of their associated centers, which is really great in our opinion. One of the other things that we do at the Food Hub is an entrepreneurship program, and we are in the process of building a commercial kitchen to help facilitate a space for farmers or any value-added producer to come and make their products in a approved space so that they could then sell them to either institutions or of course to grocery stores and things like that. So we have been working with New Mexico Grown since I believe it was 2020 is when we made our first sale to an institution. That was the first year that we were open, and we were selling to Farmington schools at that time and Bloomfield Senior Center. So we also have worked with Cumato School District, Agricultura in Albuquerque, and we are currently on the Hub to Hub network. So hopefully we'll be able to help move some more produce across the state to other institutions and other areas of the state that need what we have.
Thanks so much.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, I guess that's kind of it. We're really excited and proud to have helped so many farmers be able to sell directly to institutions now. And the program is just growing so fast. It is so amazing to see how all of the hard work that everybody has put in is really paying off now, especially in our area.
Thanks, Jacqueline. And I have to, again, express gratitude for you and the work you've done. the northwest quadrant of our state has seen the most significant growth in approved suppliers coming on, and that is absolutely due to you and your support and the marketing support that you provide to producers. But check out the list. There are so many folks from Northwest New Mexico these days, and that is really wonderful. So thank you, Jacqueline, for sharing and for the hard work you do. All right, so now we're all, oh yeah. Now we're going to hear from Andrew Neighbor with Desert Verde Farms based here in Santa Fe as a Produce Plus vendor that's been participating in New Mexico Grown. So Andrew, welcome.
Thank you, Elena, and hello to everyone online today. I'm the owner and operator of Desert Verde Farm. We're unique in that we are the only indoor aquaponics farm in the state. And we grow primarily leafy greens, lettuces, both green lettuce and romaines, bok choys, spinach, and culinary herbs. And we use fish to feed our plants. So we raise tilapia as well, and they provide the nutrients necessary for nurturing the plants in an indoor space here in downtown Santa Fe. We produce about 4,000 plants a week, year round, and much of that is in the form of lettuce and spinach. And virtually everything we produce goes to New Mexico grown buyers. When I founded the farm almost 3 years ago, or a little over 3 years ago now, it was my conviction that we needed to serve the underserved community, the undernourished community, and that there was such a gap in food production, and that we could use these technologies to deliver a very highly nutritious and fresh local food to those most in need for that sustenance. But we also had a second objective, which was to provide workforce training for young farmers graduating from the Santa Fe Community College. The SFCC has a very strong program in soilless agriculture, including hydroponics and aquaponics. And many of the graduates of that program just have no jobs to go to. So we have entertained almost 20 interns in the last 3 years. And many of those, in fact, 6 of those have now become permanent employees. And we have a rotation every semester of new interns who are working with us to gain experience of these types of technologies, what growing food is like, what a food growing business is like, and so on. The third objective was to show the feasibility of this so that we could interest others in expanding our operation and recruit other farmers to duplicate what we do. We have learned so much in the last 3 years as to how to do this well. And it's a knowledge that we'd like to share with others to, again, produce and stimulate the production of more healthy food within the state. I can't say enough about New Mexico Grown. It meshes so well with my overall objective, provides the distribution and the opportunity so that we can get our food into those public institutions in the easiest possible way. We service now public schools, early childhood, daycare centers, food banks, and senior centers. So we touch every corner of the New Mexico Grown mission. And we sell out every week. And we grow, as I said, year round. So it's a marvelous opportunity to facilitate our growth. I think of New Mexico Grown as kind of trickle-down economics. The buyers receive subsidies that allow them to buy healthy food, and that then essentially trickles down to the producers who otherwise might be struggling in their production. And it really helps them obtain markets for their product. everybody is so wonderful. The support, the facilitation, the assistance of everybody involved in New Mexico Grown has just made my business almost a slam dunk, I would say. Struggling to sell to private buyers or to markets or to other opportunities is extremely difficult. So when you get an order for 100 pounds of lettuce from a public school, that just makes life for us so much easier, and we can focus on the growing, on the production, and ensuring that the food gets to people that are going to benefit most from it. We're looking forward to future expansions. We're hoping to clone ourselves once or twice in the future. We're also looking to put in place a food processing center. One of the challenges we have as a producer is the limitations on how we can package our product and get it to the end user, the consumer, in a way that's convenient for them. We're only allowed to cut a lettuce one time. And so that really means that we can't produce an efficient salad mix or chopped salad product unless we get food processing certification and approvals. Similarly, nobody really is able to buy our fish because they're whole fish, and very few kitchens have the ability or the time to scale those, gut them, and fillet them into a form that's suitable to be served in their cafeterias. But with the appropriate approvals from the FDA, we will be able to provide that value-added product and perhaps also turn some of our culinary herbs into pestos and salsas and things like that. So we're working hard to try to find and develop those new markets and those new products, and also to build more similar farms without getting political or involved in anything controversial. I just believe that the future of a lot of farming in the going forward is in the form of indoor farming, controlled environments where we can protect the growing space from the vagaries of the climate. And I have the vision of seeing far more of these indoor community local farms that are not too big to fail, but are small enough that they can partner together with other small farms to produce a continuous and protected food supply. We also have enjoyed working with some of the New Mexico hubs, both in supplying product to their CSAs, but also in them becoming down the value chain or supply chain producers, deliverers to other institutions. So for example, we supply New Mexico Harvest with fresh lettuce, which goes to the Sandoval County senior centers. That helps with transportation. It also means that they can facilitate the sales and the orders and so on. So it's the network that works, and we'd love to work with more institutions going forward. Unfortunately, as I said, we presently sell everything we grow, so we don't have a lot of extra product for new customers. But we're gradually looking at ways to solve that problem and increase productivity so that we can actually adopt new outlets and new partners. We work with each school and each senior center or each food bank individually. There are partners, there are clients, and we often, there is some negotiation involved in pricing. There are certainly discussions about quantities needed. We're very flexible. We try to be very flexible, at least in getting as much of that product to the most needy communities and the most needy customers. So it's a fascinating process, and without New Mexico Grown, we would not be where we are today. So my deepest thanks to everybody involved in the organization. I can't say enough about it, and It's just truly wonderful. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And yeah, thank you just for painting the picture of the community that is around this program. It's more than a program, it is a network, and it's all of these people working behind the scenes to make it function and using our relationships and being with each other in a good way. So thank you, Andrew, for sharing. And thank you all the producers for taking some time out of what I know is a very busy schedule for you to come and be here with us on Zoom. And for those of you that provided testimonials, thank you. Next slide, please. All right, so at this point, I'm just gonna do a little bit of housekeeping and let y'all know that we're gonna start getting ready to close the main part of this meeting. And so for those of you that are buyers out there, we'll be closing and we'll move into breakouts, specifically a breakout for our producers to receive some mandatory food safety training that will be fun and engaging with Anita and Mike. But before we head to that, I just wanted to, again, encourage you all to stay involved and take advantage of all of the things the program has to offer. It's more than just buying local food. So there are a couple things that you can get involved in that are right around the corner. So number one, as Sheena shared, the New Mexico Farmers Market Association, we have our food safety training schedule available online, and we have those online trainings every month, as well as in-person trainings that are queued up in community, and we'll take your requests for more. Our agency buyers do a provider roundtable every month. I believe Ophelia is the one that sends out those invitations. So for our providers, keep coming to those roundtables. We'll do our best to make sure that you learn about what's in season and what's available as we start getting closer to the end of the fiscal year. And as I know, many of you are working to spend down your funding. The New Mexico Grown Coalition meets monthly on the first Friday of every month. It is open for anybody who wants to become a member and attend. Please join us in the coalition. The Golden Chili Award program, we will be announcing applications probably in May. So keep your eyes peeled for those for our buyers and now also our food producers. So the Golden Chili Awards will be out soon. And we now have a website. So all this work has a home. NewMexicoGrown.org is the website. There is an event calendar on there that we are going to work really hard to get updated as frequently as we can. There's a lot of resources on there. There's purchasing templates. There's our food safety training curriculum. There's all sorts of things that you can access through that website, as well as our partners' websites. Couple of reminders on applications and deadlines. So aging and long-term services, our senior providers, as Ophelia mentioned, the RFA is open now. It closes on March 8th. So get your application in, and while you're at it, talk to another provider if you can and encourage them to apply. As Ophelia said, she's trying to increase that number every year. And so thank you for your support with that. Again, March 8th. ECECD, Laura Spencer announced that their applications will be opening probably mid-March, so stay tuned. If you have questions, reach out to Laura directly. PED, as Shauna and Rosa mentioned, the final sort of process for accessing the funding is being sorted out right now, so stay tuned in early April for our schools. You'll get more information on how to participate in New Mexico Grown. And the approved supplier program. So for our producers on the line, stay with us because the training portion is next, but also the application will be opening the first week of March. And again, that priority deadline to get on the list as soon as possible will be April 15th. And reach out to me or Sheena or Mike if you have any questions or need any support. And again, I just want to express so much gratitude to all of you that are out there on the line, all of my fellow panelists and co-hosts here. It really is a movement that we're building, and it is more than that. It's a community and a family, and I appreciate getting to work side by side with all of you to feed our communities and increase the health and opportunity for future generations. So thank you so much. Again, buyers, thanks for coming. You're welcome to go on with your day. You just earned a full hour plus back in your day. Go get outside, take care of yourself. And for our producers, we'll take a little 5-minute transition, get up, stretch, get some water or tea, and come back and join us with Anita and Mike for our food safety trainer here in about 5 minutes.